UFC Abu Dhabi is looking like the retirement home for UFC fighters right now. Like, this shit is looking like a Bellator card, for crying out loud. We're getting Nick Diaz versus Vicente Luque. Are you fucking kidding me? Nick Diaz, for crying out loud, hasn't fought in 3 years. And that fight 3 years ago, he fought a old ass Robbie Lawler. And he got his ass whooped. He looked sloppy as shit and he didn't look good. And I love Nate Diaz. But before that fight too, he had a 5-year ban. Like, it's just been a mess. Like, why can't the UFC just release him, the poor guy? He's only literally doing this fight so he can just get out of his UFC contract and not have to deal with that crap anymore. And Vicente Luque, like his last fight against Joaquin Buckley, he literally quit and called the fight off. Like, he had brain bleeding 2 years ago. What are we doing, Dana? What are we doing? And don't get me started on Tony Ferguson. This man still has a contract with the UFC. He's lost basically, what, his last 6 fights? And he's got demolished in all 6 of them? And now he's fighting Michael Chiesa. Yes, Michael Chiesa. The guy that won the Ultimate Fighter, what, 11 or 15 years ago? I can't believe we're seeing these guys still fighting. Like, why can't Michael Chiesa go back to being a commentator? Like, for this fight to be happening is honestly ridiculous. And Tony Ferguson, I know he's never gonna stop fighting, even if he leaves the UFC. But please, man, like, Dana, you're talking about you're worried of the safety of your fighter, and you're over here throwing him in more fights? Like, what are we doing? Like, who's making these decisions for these fighters? Because this is obviously ridiculous. But overall, as much as I'm shitting on that first half of the card, there's really good fights on this card. Like, we got Deiveson Figueiredo versus
Chito Vera, which I think will be a really good scrap. These guys are going to go after each other's throats. The bloody war that we will see in this fight will actually be crazy because Chito Vera, he's a true warrior. He's a very heavy-handed fighter. He's got some power to him. But man, the way he takes punishment is unlike no other. Like, that man does not quit. Even though he's coming off a big loss against Sean, we could see him, like, maybe try to pull something to get the victory. But honestly, I don't see it. Deiveson Figueiredo is way too slick. He's way too quick for Chito. And it might be hard for Chito to keep up with him. And I think Deiveson will probably take his ass down and choke him out and call it a fight. But we also got a true samurai by the name of Corey Sandhagen facing off Umar Nurmagomedov, the Dagestani himself. It's a true clash between two different disciplines. Wrestling and what? Karate, basically. Is that Corey Sandhagen's background? I'm pretty sure. 2 different disciplines, stand-up versus ground game. Who will win? I don't know. Like, I could see Corey Sandhagen coming out alive, but at the same time, Umar Nurmagomedov could just go in there and maul him. But who knows? Corey Sandhagen is notorious for pulling off some wicked-ass shit. We could see him come in with a flying knee out of nowhere like we saw against Frankie Edgar, or even a crazy KO from the beginning. But I think Umar will drag it out. He'll probably take this fight into a decision. Or if he's lucky enough, he could choke him out. But I think Corey Sandhagen will thug it out until the end. The man is just a true warrior. And I'm just glad we're finally getting this fight. It's a fight that both guys have been asking for. Fans are interested in it. And I'm glad to see it. So let's get it, people. To the point, this card is literally reminding me of these old Bellator heavyweight Grand Prix where they had Chael Sonnen, Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Frank Mir, Fedor Emelianenko all in them. Just old heads trying to make it out for the sake of money because they didn't get paid. It's just really sad, and especially for Nick Diaz and Tony Ferguson, like, they're literally just hanging on there by a thread. Especially Nick, man, like, he's only there just to get out of his contract. It's just so sad, man. Like, especially growing up, seeing these guys fighting in their prime. Tony Ferguson going on that crazy fight streak and just looking like a complete boogeyman. Nick Diaz thugging it out in Strikeforce. It's just, you hate to see these old legends fall to the point where they are, man. Like, it's tragic to me. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you all think. Anyways, good game, boys. Catch you later. Deuces.